Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's my last little piece of content I'm putting together before heading over to France. So by the time this episode comes out, I will be somewhere around Normandy, I think. I actually have no idea what our schedule is, and I'm kind of just following the line at chow time. But I'll be with good people. And yeah, speaking of those people, they're the sponsor of the podcast, Black Rifle Coffee. Let's go to their website right now and see what they have that is new. Last time we were here, it was about Veterans Day. Today, it was about Memorial Day. Looks like we're back to our normally scheduled programming. Joining the club. It's a coffee subscription. You can get 20% off if you use the code COFFEE20 right now. That's if you start one. You're not going to get 20% off if you already have one. And it's cool because you can order whatever kind of coffee you want, ground, whole bean, in a variety of roasts on the delivery frequency that you want and the volume that you want. Now, down underneath this is their slider. Let's talk about these roasts. The far left, silencer smooth. This is actually what we use as our espresso bean in the coffee shop. And what we used to use was slightly darker right here, the AK-47 or AK espresso roast. And it was also delightful, but people like the silencer smooth more. Freedom roast is a great kind of medium blend. I've had the thin blue line and the just black. Those are both right in the sweet spot of the middle. Those are delicious. And on the far right, murdered out. It's very dark. Beyond black, same thing. And below, you have the apparel, gear, coffee bundles, coffee sampler, all those things that we talk about. If you're a coffee fan or you have somebody in your life who enjoys coffee, send them over to blackriflecoffee.com. It's an amazing organization. They give back millions a year to veterans initiatives and organizations, and they're who we'll be with in France. My guest today is a repeat guest. Most of you will probably know who he is. It's Nelson Grant, one of the first people I met when I moved to Montana, and he truly is the person who holds the most hobbies of anybody that I know. There's 4 distinct seasons in Montana, and I swear he has something to do in every one of those. In addition to his time of being a law enforcement officer as a sheriff, and he also is a member of, I don't know exactly what they would call it, but it's the Helicopter Rescue 2-Bear Alert here in the Flathead Valley. They service an area of 300 nautical miles from the airport. He explains that. So, yeah, let's get into it. Episode number 338 with the Renaissance Man of Montana, Nelson Grant. Oh, and by the way, he couldn't remember his YouTube page name. So I put it in the link or in the show notes below to try to help him out. There you go, Nelson. That's how you do that. Enjoy.
Okay, got the red smoke. Gun run, north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
I think we should open with your statement about the studio that happened off air that needs to be discussed when you looked above your head and you're like, what is this?
Well, obviously
they're clearly
lights,
a light.
That's
not what you said, though. You didn't say, hey, clearly that's a light. You said, well, what is this?
They're special person light for these.
Like short bus?
Well, I'm not in a professional studio very often, so
this is an office suite with curtains over.
Yeah.
The
Well,
doors.
it's changed a lot, is what I was saying, and you got some sweet light up signs and these spaceship lights, and so I was making a comment like, "Huh."
I don't believe it has been that long since you've been in here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
When was the last time you were here? Every time you come here, one of your buddies gets in trouble. Was that the last time?
Yeah, it was. It was with Paul from Orlando.
Are we even safe to discuss?
Oh, yeah. Let's full blast.
Okay. Fill me in.
Well, I actually didn't ask him if it was safe to talk about, but I will.
Fire away.
Because I'm his bro, so
okay,
that's what we'll do. So, yeah, we were in here.
In a hypothetical city named Torlando.
Yeah, Torlando. In a hypothetical state named
Orda?
Yeah, that's good. I was going to go with a Horda thing to support
that's
his
probably accurate
hookers
too.
And
hookers and heroes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So no, I think it was last February because that's when he came out. Not
so people
this past
have
February.
no idea what we're talking about. Officer came on. He was one of the first people to respond to the Pulse nightclub shooting. He was in a sniper position on the roof. Talked a lot about everything that led up to it, the actions on his role in that, the aftermath, the insanity inside. I had no idea about the flooded bathroom, like any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I either made a off-color comment or led us down the path of an off-color comment. You've known me for years, and this is kind of the way that I do things. I say what I'm thinking. Sometimes I don't think before I say.
Yeah.
However, I think I said something along the lines of, does somebody identify as a dude or something like that?
Yeah, I think
it was some reference to a self-identification or a pronoun.
I think, and I'd have to re-listen to it, but I think you asked, was there any females on the team? Okay. And at some point, Paul, in the course of that conversation, that specific, said that he identified as a female or something like that. Or how do you know it? I can't remember the details of it, but it was to that effect.
Fast forward to me being on a video deposition about Paul, because my man damn near lost his job.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the behind the scenes, what happened. So first of all, when that aired, he was in a promotional testing, I believe, and tons of guys were coming up to him like, "Hey, dude, I heard your podcast. That was awesome."
I also heard they were saying like, "How did you do that? You're here right now."
Yeah, exactly, because it came out like on a Monday morning, and here he is on Monday morning in Orlando. But
Torlando.
Torlando, yeah.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
Everything we're talking about could potentially be hypothetical.
This may not have happened.
Yeah, or it may have.
Could have.
Yeah.
But I think behind the scenes, what happened is somebody got upset, jealous maybe. I don't know why. They listened to the podcast and picked that one little snippet out of it, and basically tried to canoe his career, and it was successful. It was a high-ranking person. Don't want to get too far into the weeds on that, but yeah, and he handled it great. Like Paul and I talked a lot about it.
It was a high-ranking person that aligns with what some people would consider to be a very powerful group in today's society. They would consider themselves perhaps to be marginalized or targeted. They have their own month and flag.
Mm-hmm. Hypothetically.
And because of that comment, they decided that they wanted to go after an officer's career.
Mm-hmm. And a stud dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also,
my message to that person is go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm not sure if I said exactly that on my deposition.
I think you did.
I said I think they should be cautious with the path that they want to go down, because if that is what you're going to burn somebody down for, I may just dedicate all of the energy and effort that I have to burning you down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's exactly what I said. It was more concise at the time. But I think the point got across.
I think so, because I heard about it, which he was stoked about. Also, I haven't talked to Paul in a couple months, and so he has no idea we're chatting about this. And this is not
Paul. If you
Paul's
get in trouble
words.
again, sorry.
Yeah. But we talked, and in your career, there's discipline, and it's all about how you handle the discipline and get back up, and as an example to others. And I think that's worked in his favor.
How he took it?
Yeah, how he took it.
There's discipline, and then there's punitive actions.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess it could be considered a fine line. If you come on as an officer for an organization, I suppose. Well, I also don't know the procedure. What do you think his department would have said if he would have asked him and said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to come on this show"?
Yeah, I think. Well,
I asked because he's not a spokesperson for the organization.
Yeah.
However, maybe the organization's take is, because we didn't say that at the beginning, or because he didn't open with like, "Hey, this is who I am and this is what I do," but I don't speak for the organization. I don't know if that would have changed it at all.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And I don't think he was here acting on behalf of any organization. I think he was relaying his experiences. And I think he has the right to kind of express himself in any way he would want to. He wasn't in uniform. Mm-hmm. And for somebody to take punitive action like that or attempt to do so, not awesome.
Yeah, I know they started just nitpicking. And here's the thing, too. This isn't just an Orlando problem. A lot, and it's a big... Yes, Torlando.
Yeah. Near the city of Tallahassee.
I see it in both big and small departments. I fortunately work for a department that has common sense approach, and they're not going to do something like that. In my opinion, they could, It could happen. And but administrations and big departments and also small departments that have a lot of time just to focus on, hey, the way that you walked with your left foot first or your right foot first up to this car, like just trying to nitpick any kind of I work for a department like that on the East Coast. It was always being called in, always being questioned about how you did your job. And there's a part of that is learning. You're going to make mistakes. But then there's another part.
What was their reasoning for doing it, though?
I think they just didn't have anything else going on.
You're talking about like the administration or the
correct?
head shed?
Yeah, on my that super small, my first department I ever worked at, there's just nothing going on, and so when they're sitting there, there's no crimes to It was a very small department, like 6 guys. So
how high up your leg did your boots come?
Oh, they were like 10-inch boots.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are we going with that?
Flat brim hat?
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm just thinking. Just Maine,
yeah.
Just
yes. Maine. Yeah. The campaign hat. Yeah.
Did you have the leather strap that came over
Negative.
one side? Okay.
No, I didn't have that. But
what is the role of that strap?
Probably dress decoration.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a. Well, I think some departments wear that as their normal.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Like Rhode Island, maybe.
I'm just curious what it's for.
Yeah.
It's a fashion piece for sure.
It's not suspenders.
It's half. I don't know how well it acts as suspenders. It's one half of a set of suspenders.
It's a good grip if you go on the ground fight. For the opponent.
Yeah. Speaking of, have you quit jiu-jitsu again for the year?
No, man.
When was the last time you were in class?
Well, it's been a couple weeks. I've been out bear hunting, though.
I know.
Yeah.
You quit every year. You come back.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right.
Yeah, I'm watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not.
Do you remember that day that you got your blue belt?
No, that was so long ago.
Yeah. You still have your blue belt, Nelson.
Yeah, I think Travis wants me to switch it out for a lighter color.
Okay. Just a refresh on the belt.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm kidding, but
it was 4 years ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people learn slower than others.
Well, attendance in class helps with that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I have no
I think
no rebuttal, but
Michael started jiu-jitsu after you got your blue belt.
Yeah. Oh, after my blue belt?
That's probably true, or maybe just right when you got it.
Yeah. Are you purple belt now?
Yeah.
Yep.
The fact that you actually don't know that
Yeah. And I think I've rolled with you at
many times
Yeah.
at the AK
just-
space. Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to guys' belts.
Okay. There's usually 3 or 4 of us there.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah. And that was like a month ago, I would say. Maybe a
no.
little longer.
No.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was at the dentist today, and the lady's trying to book my next cleaning. And I'm like, what is today? And she just looked at me. I'm like, is today Friday or Wednesday? She's like, wrong. It's Thursday.
Yeah. Well, you are coming off of night shifts.
Yeah, you kind of like when you rotate shifts and you're working crazy schedule, I have to look at my phone to pick what day of the week it is.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Long-term impact on Paul. What happened?
So he went back to a night shift patrol for like a second. I think he was only there for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And then, because as soon as there's an opening on another shift, he put in for days, got days. And last I talked to him, this has been a couple months, which I need to catch back up with the guy. But he was putting in for either a dog position and had the full blessing of going forward from there. But man,
It sucks it derailed what he was doing, though.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they even brought into question him training jiu-jitsu on his lunch hour. He was in a training position, and I don't know, I'm saying everybody, but several guys from the department would train, and not just his department, but other departments in the area would train in a closed gym for law enforcement. And
And they had an issue with an officer.
well, I think at that point it was a manhunt for Paul, like looking for any kind of a.
You want to talk about a way to discourage people from pursuing that?
Yeah.
You guys should get an hour a day.
Yeah.
You are working in one of the only occupations that I know of where you're required to touch people every time you're on shift.
Agreed. And I think I was telling you about how our department's changed policies with that. Did I tell you about this?
Yes, because
Yep.
you are not that you exercise this privilege, but you
I
have
do.
time in your day to go train.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Sick boy.
Yeah. Yeah, just something won't leave my lungs. I don't know what it is. But
let's combine it with shift work.
Yeah.
Totally fucked up circadian rhythm.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, so our department, we're putting, I think, 5 new people into our DT program, and they're paying for a 2-year membership at our local gym, SBG.
okay.
With attendance checks, like in a year, they're going to check, hey, if you haven't been making classes, because the expectation is 2 classes a week. However, they're paying comp time, I think, maybe overtime, but I would take comp time. That's
What's the difference between the
So
two?
comp time is earned at the same rate, a time and a half. So if I go on my day off, like today, to the gym, and it's a 1-hour class, I get an hour and a half off whenever I want it, or I get an hour and a half pay.
But you're off.
Yeah, I'm off, but it's part of my work, so I can put in for overtime or comp time. That's the new change.
Okay.
Additionally,
So there's a slight financial incentive to go.
yeah, it doesn't. So if
Why would you
you're-
get 1.5 hours?
It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's time and a half. So it's an hour. So like I'm training. So I get that hour and then half of that. That's just the way it's accrued. It's not double time.
Time and a half is based off the rate that they're paying you, not the actual time on the clock, Nelson.
Yeah.
Have you ever held a fucking job before?
This is how we do it in our department. Awesome, Montana. No, it's actually, I'm digging it. I do appreciate it. And
You better hope they don't do an attendance check on you.
I'm there.
Where?
The other thing is, if you're working your shift work, you
Yeah.
can bounce out for a class like at noon, or if you're on nights, you can go to the 7 p.m. class.
Okay.
So
If you're on shift, though, I'm assuming the comp time is not.
no,
available?
that's just straight.
Okay.
Yep, just straight time.
But if you were to hit it in, like your shift is over and you go in the evening, you'd get comp time for that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And they're paying for the membership. Awesome.
Which several of us, Strider, Logan,
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk.
Yep. I don't know where I came up with that name,
I like it though.
but now Leo will come home. She's like, oh, yeah, Nighthawk's kids were there.
oh, that's awesome. He's a big dude.
He's not tiny.
Yeah, Viking style, like red hair,
Straight Viking.
Yep.
Yeah. 6 foot, probably 13, 400 pounds.
He's actually looking really good. He's on a carnivore diet
Yeah.
and hitting the gym quite a bit. He's going to the Origin camp,
Okay.
the law enforcement one.
Okay. I think that's the week after the civilian one.
Okay.
I know almost nothing about it.
Yeah, and he's on 2Bear with me, helicopter rescue.
He is?
Yeah, he got on there.
That's unfortunate. That's really going to reduce the useful load in that
Yeah,
helicopter.
totally. We talk about that. He's a stud though. He's very proficient.
So he does what you do in the back?
Yep.
Why don't you describe what you do in the back so it can be a standalone episode?
Okay. Yeah. So our heli rescue program is called 2Bear Air Rescue.
Yep.
We service 300 nautical miles around the airport, Glacier Park.
I feel like you guys would push that envelope if needed.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And the primary function of our program is it's a hoist rescue ship. So if you can get a closer helicopter to land near a patient, like a backcountry, let's say mountain biker that falls, breaks a leg or a collarbone or some way they can't get out, if Life Flight or whatever service is nearby, because most places throughout the West have a Life Flight or even a military like the Guard, which Great Falls has a hoist program. However, it's so hard to get through the red tape to get them to launch. Depending on
Why?
I don't know. I know that a mission I went on this fall, they were spun up, and then so basically they tried to call Great Falls, Maelstrom,
Yeah.
and nobody
They're rocking
answered.
Blackhawks?
I'm not sure what they're flying out of.
It's pretty dope when you call an emergency line.
Yeah, and
The
nobody
number
answers.
you have called is disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was out of Gallatin, and so down by Bozeman.
Okay.
So they call there.
Which is way closer for them.
Yep, and no answer. So they call the main line, which is a dispatch center out of Florida, and they're like, yeah, they gave them all the details of what the mission was. They're like, yep, we're looking at this. This is something we'll fly on. But then they couldn't get a hold of the crew at Maelstrom, so they called us. So now you're delayed even more.
Are they supposed to have a crew on standby?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Ours, we do. We always have a crew on standby, but
Like at the hangar?
depends. So during the day, business hours, there's guys always there, the guys that are on call. But
Do they
deputy,
choose to be there or do they have to be there?
I think it's a little of both. I think they can come and go. But for deputies, because there's usually a deputy assigned to the ship as well. And so there's always a pilot, there's a hoist operator, and a rescue specialist. So there's a guy that operates the cable, and then there's a guy that goes down on the cable to apply medical and then hoist the patient out.
Single pilot?
Single pilot.
Okay.
Yep. And in the future, there might be a TFO position where there's a guy in the passenger seat running camera, because that's a dual role right now. It's not something I'm spun up on. I've operated the camera, but it's a perishable skill, knowing all the settings. And
whose current role is it?
It's Gabe Ruff is the actual guy that oversees that position.
Is he the hoist operator in when he's not using the camera?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll fly, if it's a search, if we have a known target, like a person hits an inReach, SOS, this is what's going on, bear attack, broken leg, fall cliff.
All those so far suck.
Yeah. And that's what we primarily go to is trauma, because backcountry accidents aren't, we have gone to some heart attack stuff, but by and large it's trauma-based rescue. And it's someplace that a helicopter can't land.
So the key is, like, to say you get attacked by a bear in a big open field. If you don't want to get the tab for it, you need to crawl over into the tree line.
Exactly.
Like a little bit in so they can't get...
insider knowledge here. So it's pretty awesome. Mike Gogan, he's the dude that has funded the whole program. And it costs $0 to anybody that's rescued. And they've sent checks in. People, victims have, they're super thankful.
Yeah.
Sent checks in, they get ripped up. Plaques go on the wall and cookies get eaten, but checks get written up. So it's a pretty cool program. However, we are not a medical ship. We are all trained. Our like minimum qualification is EMT, but we're all medically trained, so we can do traction splints, femur breaks, stuff like that. But our primary objective is to get you to a higher level of care as soon as possible. Whether that's hoisting you, flying a minute and a half over the mountain, and landing next to a waiting ambulance, which is already staged.
I feel like I've asked you guys this, or asked you, why can you guys not land at the hospital?
So it's because of our licensing. We're not a medical ship. And I don't know all the red tape.
What if somebody was going to die?
So we have done that before.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's rare, but it's based on the local, like the governing. So like when we fly out of our county, to assist Gallatin County, we'll make arrangements there.
What if you just hover
and hoist them down?
James is a very good helicopter pilot. Thank you for hooking me up with him, by the way. He's awesome.
The whole crew, dude, is
I feel like he
top
could,
shelf.
like 1 inch off, like we're not landing here, but also maybe stretcher this guy off real fast.
I think there would be some questions about that. However,
100%. I'm just saying there's the letter of the law and then the intent of the law.
Sure. Yeah. No,
you're
and common sense,
one, perhaps not the other.
and it's governed by common sense. If this person is a red patient that needs that now,
you're going to die if you don't get to.
We're going to land at the hospital, but that's rare. It's only happened a few times in our inception. It happened on that Gallatin call I went on, but anyway, so we'll hoist the patient, and if we land because we're in the backcountry, like up in the park, and we land and load you in the alert helicopter, because that's the next high, because it's a 10-minute flight to a ambulance. That's like a $22,000 flight. Yeah. So it's a free hoist from us, but you're getting the.
I wonder, as if you're crossing from one rotor arc to the other, you hear the sound of a cash register.
It's funny when we bring victims in the cabin, we document everything for our own internal records. So I'll be like, hey, name, date. I usually write it out because it's so loud. They're not on comms. Write down on my notepad like name, address, phone number, date of birth, all the pertinent stuff for our reporting. And I hand it to them, and they kind of have big eyes, and I'm like, don't worry. It's free. This is for us. So
free right now.
Yeah, free right now, depending on what we take you to.
So Nighthawk's back there.
Yep,
just taking up space.
He's a stud. So he's been on 2 years. Him and Darren got on in the hiring cycle prior to mine.
Oh, he's been on there longer than you.
Yep. 2 years prior, I believe. So probably 4 or 5 years now.
How do you guys work that alert shift?
So.
For you, for the
you mean the
deputy?
2 bear? Yeah, 2 bear stuff. So anytime I'm on duty, I'm on call.
Okay.
So like last night, I was on from 6 p.m. to 6 this morning, and I was on night call.
Okay.
Yep. And so you can kind of pattern it. Lots of calls come in the evening because that's when people don't show back up to their cars and family starts calling if it's a search. And that's what I was getting at. If we're doing just a search, we'll usually launch with a guy up in the TFO seat so he can start using thermals and stuff like that. And then if we find the victim,
okay,
yep.
Cool.
Yep. And if we find the victim, then we'll go land somewhere, switch out, harness up, do all our checks, and then launch to do the hoist.
That's what's cool about. I have almost no helicopter experience. I think about like 13 hours at this point. It's not.
It sounds like you're a pretty big deal out there.
No. I think there's been some noise complaints. That's about it. But I'm not joking about that. There's been noise complaints.
Where?
By the airport. You spend a lot of the time when you're learning in a traffic pattern.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't live
Are you doing it mostly down at the South Airport in Kalispell?
That's where I'm doing it all.
Yep.
That's where they're all based out of.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you live near an airport, it gets loud.
Yeah.
And you have the phone number to the flight school. And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the program.
It is.
Yeah, James is a stud. I'm glad that you guys linked up.
Yeah, he is actually to the best of my knowledge, he's the guy who I'll take my test with to get my license.
Okay.
He is a DPE, Designated Pilot Examiner.
Okay.
So he is very highly experienced, actually, when it comes to not only teaching, but doing the licensing as well.
Yeah. So. He's our chief pilot, so he runs the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. James is funny, man. We'll be flying, and we're all on comms, and I'll hear an, oh, fuck. And we're all like looking around. And he's like, oh, I just got this text. I got to deal with something later. And we're like, dude. So one of the other guys is like, please clarify the oh, fuck.
I think in most things that fly, you'll hear something or see flashing lights.
Yeah.
So as long as you're not seeing the combination of those two things, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Typically, if we're launching for an hour and a half flight, like to Bozeman or wherever, just chill in the back. Like, hey, it's out of my control. I'm not worried about anything. If I see something, smell something, hear something, I'm going to report it. But otherwise,
just hook yourself up to the windshield, lower yourself down.
Yeah, that'll
I'm sure
work.
there's an auto button you could just hit and just
just super glue the winch cable all the way out for a second.
Now, I was going to say the cool thing I've found about helicopters, and I didn't even think about it in airplanes, you can just land wherever the hell you want to.
Yeah.
You could land and take the doors off. You could land and drop all your gear, and it's pretty cool to be able to do that.
I'm looking forward to you getting your
It shouldn't be that long. For me, it's just an add-on.
Uh-huh.
I think I need 30 hours, which I'm going to be the first to tell you I think is an irresponsible amount of flight time.
It sounds it.
Well, I don't have to take any classes on like aviation knowledge.
Right. I think I heard you talking about
my
this.
licenses they qualify for that. So it's all focused on helicopter specific stuff. And I'm glad that I'm doing it that way because let me just tell you, there's a lot of shit going on up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a feeling that James makes the helicopter feel like it's not moving.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot.
Yeah.
To make it do that.
Yeah, and we're brushed on some of the like hard spots for him over water. No hover references.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he doesn't have something to look at.
Yep. And then anytime he's in a hover or whoever, because we have 3 pilots, anytime somebody's in a hover, they're using all 4 limbs, both pedals and both hands, correct?
I think you guys are in a 429.
Yep.
I think there are some levels of automation in there that may help, but I'm going to, with this robust level of 13 hours of experience, and having never looked at the cockpit of a 429, all 4 of his appendages are going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so we're trying to get the pilot out of hover as quick as possible. So as soon as, if I'm doing a quick pick off a cliff, meaning I'm not coming off the cable, he's got to hover for however long it takes me to stabilize the patient, get him packaged.
What is your desired length from where you are to the bird? Do you guys shoot for a particular length?
We have 200, I think it's 220 feet of cable, but we typically hoist in around 100 feet.
Are you outside of the prop wash?
No, we'll go through it. And so,
no, I mean, as you're on the ground, though, are you feeling it?
Yeah. Yep.
A little bit or a lot?
It's like the eye of the hurricane. So I'll feel it for sure. Mostly the people in the surrounding area.
Okay.
Like this, you'll see all kinds of snowmobile gear getting thrown around. But when we're hoisting a bag, so if somebody's on a litter, and I got to backboard them up, that's when we have a stabilization fin, and you'll start outside of that rotor wash.
Yeah.
And then you go through this cone, and that's like the most you've got to be on it with that fin, or you'll start a spin. And I'm sure everybody's seen that video in Arizona.
Oh, I had the guy on.
Yeah.
Michael.
Oh, really?
You know what to do.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Look it up.
Oh, yeah. I had I had the guy who was holding the rope.
So that was a quick link that broke, I believe. And
no, it was not. I think it was how the aircraft had positioned itself. However, they got into this glorious flat spin out to sea.
Yeah, dude. Bad. But it's really easy to...
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Fuck yeah.
So
a routine mountain rescue. And, of course, right now...
So they're on a tether.
Yeah.
So you see the long line is no longer attached to the ground.
Hell yeah.
So the quick link we double our quick links. It's a plastic, like regular buckle that I can snap if I need to allow, like if it's getting hung up in a tree.
At this level of RPM, how much fun do you think that is in the basket?
Zero. But see, as they give forward flight, it starts stabilizing.
What would have really stabilized is they could have done a little contact with that bush.
Yeah.
Just not like a full, but just a little, you know, just to slow it down a touch.
Well, and that's where we pre-plan everything. So like if they're closer to the ground, they're going to just set them back down if we start a spin. And if they're above.
What do you mean by a fin? You have like a little arm thing?
Yeah. So like I always position the head to my right.
Yep.
The feet to my left. And on the feet part of the bag, it's called a cascade bag.
Yep.
Cascade. And on the left is a fin that I control with my left hand. Okay. And so so if I push it to the right or forward away from my body, it's going to catch that air and shoot me to, forward. If I pull it back, it's going to spin me the opposite direction. So if I can catch that air straight vertically when I go through the eye of the hurricane, so to speak, the turbulent zone,
I don't think any of these are technical terms, but I like it.
Yeah, no.
I feel like you're making up a lot of shit.
Well, I'm trying to explain it so somebody can understand it.
Yeah.
But
a
the
lot of
basic
people will understand going through the eye of the hurricane. Though,
yeah. Well, yeah, the area under the helicopter that has all the the wind effects. However, that fin stabilizes that cascade bag, and we did a ton of training like 2 weeks ago, and man, every single one of us had a normal flight, smooth flight up to the skid.
I was out there flying around when you guys were down by Pole Bridge. We were looking for you.
Yep.
We couldn't find you, though.
You couldn't?
You guys were doing, I think, cliff stuff?
Up by Pole Bridge, we were doing river stuff that day. And then we were down by Crane Mountain for the cliff rescue the next day.
Where's Crane Mountain?
It's down by the lake, down past Big Fork.
Down past Big Fork.
Yep.
By like Swan?
No, it's a little range that runs right next to Flathead Lake.
Okay.
So if you're leaving, like you go past Wayfair State Park and like the burger joint there.
Yeah.
As you're going south, it'll be on your left, that mountain range there. It's not a huge mountain range, but when you're in it, it's pretty rugged.
Cool.
Good hunting.
Yeah, we were short
trails.
on gas. So we made like one lap. We heard you guys made like one lap through Pole Bridge. Couldn't find you.
Yep. On that day, we were at Big Creek, which is a little section of it's just a spot we staged.
I was going to fly in there just to make sure you guys didn't need any assistance.
Yeah.
And my little Robinson.
Yeah, it's good. It's that's another trick when we're flying somewhere and you hear another aircraft in the airspace. We're all looking, for where that bird's at. Fire season, there's a ton of them. As in firefighting? Yeah,
Birds?
Like I went on a rescue last fall when there was fires everywhere and there was like 4 or 5 aircraft in the sky. So
when there was a fire down by the lake house.
Yep.
I fired up one of the apps, or I downloaded one of the apps just to look at the tracks that they were doing. I think they had 5 or 6 of the ones that land in the water and fill up.
Yeah.
They had a spotter aircraft up. They had tankers up. I think there was like 15 to 20 aircraft at any given time in that pattern.
Yeah. And it's usually a closed zone. So we have to fly a big loop around.
Oh, you wouldn't want to fly into that.
Totally.
Yeah, and then they were all going back to Missoula to tank up with the fire retardant.
Yep.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the Gallatin rescue?
I'm not sure I can really speak to that. It was...
Hypothetically.
I don't want to get into that one. It was not a positive outcome.
So the person died.
Yeah. Yeah. But I...
what did you do wrong? It sounds like
nothing.
It was potentially your fault.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But I do know last podcast that I was speaking a lot about the Two Bear stuff. We were like, hey, let's keep what we do to a minimum on the public front there. So
who told you that?
Oh, I'm not going to get into that either.
What was their name? I know some people over there.
It's a good program. I can talk about several of my successful rescues and good stuff. We had one in...
What fun is that?
I don't know. We had a good one in the park. It was last spring this time, that kid that was missing for 4 days. I might have talked about it last time.
Yeah, that one made the newspaper.
Yep.
And I think it's cool you guys can fly into the park.
Yeah.
There is a hard no-fly zone for anybody other than what you guys have going on.
Right. And I think that's a relationship that's been built over time.
Yeah, and perhaps if people need medical aid.
Yeah.
I mean, can you say you go up to the, what do they call it, going to the Sun Road?
Yeah.
Let's say you get into a gnarly car wreck there. You don't want to wait for an ambulance.
No kidding.
I mean, it'd be an hour plus to get to you, plus an hour and 30 to get to the closest hospital, or probably 7 minutes in that helicopter.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take the helicopter for sure.
Yeah, and those park rangers are super spun up on even high-angle rescue. However, it's going to take hours to set ropes and rappel down to somebody, and then how do you get them out? So, yep, they've been calling quite a bit more frequently, in my opinion, over the past few years. I've done a lot of rescues in the park.
I'm surprised that your organization doesn't want to be talked about.
Now I'm going to
talk about it all the time.
It's the same thing with Paul. I never spoke to him like, hey, I'm going on the podcast. What's the green light, red light stuff? So we're
talking about all the awesome shit you guys do for the community.
It is awesome. Yep. And
how will they know if we don't talk about it?
I think that they're getting a pretty good idea right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened to that one guy?
Yeah, that's definitely one I don't want to talk about. But
they're not all going to be winners.
No.
Nobody hits the button on their. Well, somebody probably does hit the button on their inReach by accident, but most people are not doing it because they're having a spectacular day.
Right.
So
yeah, Rose is up at the park today with Layla.
Yep.
And she took my inReach, and her app was no longer updated, and I was like running to the dentist. I'm like, just hit this SOS if you need it.
Anybody who goes into the backcountry of any kind without an inReach at this point, specifically the minis we have,
yes,
that you like to drop into the water.
Yes, I've bought 4 of them now.
Yep, I was there when you lost one. It was amazing. Yeah. As we were scooting across that log, I watched it go bloop and.
And we're chasing after a bull, and I'm like,
yeah, Leo's taking shots at like 1,786 yards.
What was the yardage?
It was not that far, but
was it like 7 or 8?
It was a poke. I'm trying to remember.
It was good though.
Yeah, but in the execution of that, you were down in inReach.
I definitely was. And as soon as I got home, Rose was like, you're going to go buy an inReach because you're not going to the mountains without one.
To get to what I was saying, they're a couple $100. I totally get it. They have an app that interfaces with your phone. It connects to your contacts. You were texting me when you were hunting off the bike.
Yep.
I never got back to you, but I received the text. To not have one of those with you is grossly irresponsible. Yeah. I have one of them in my car, and I'm driving around in town.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I have one in my fanny pack, wherever the hell it is, amongst a variety of other shit that I don't use.
Right. It's it's such a handy tool, and it's a real. It relieves the stress of you, especially for me, because I used to have a policy with Rose where I'm like, hey, if I don't come back tonight, don't call anybody because it's my own guys that are coming, and that's embarrassing. Wait till tomorrow night. But by then, that was a bad policy.
Imagine if you got hurt that day.
Yeah.
And the last thing you remember was what you told your wife.
It would have been okay.
It depends on.
The other thing, though, the old school way is I could show up to a trailhead, and if somebody was there at like 3 a.m. and I got there at 3:30, I'd be like, hey, man, sorry, this is where I told my wife I was going, so I'm going to have to come in behind you. That's a joke.
What is this?
No, so if you pull up to one of your spots and somebody's already there and they're
you just go
suiting
anyway.
up. Yeah, well, it's like the ethical part of the hunt. But I found some really good.
Ethical or gentlemanly?
Yeah, gentlemanly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only one person per trailhead?
No, it depends on the trailhead. Like down in Bozeman, I know you'll see 15 trucks at a trailhead, but the mountains spread out so much. Several of my spots in the South Fork, you pull up to a gate, there's one canyon that you're hunting, and it might be a 7-mile canyon, but there's really one guy is going to cover that the whole way.
That's fair.
Yep. But I found some great spots by doing that. Like, hey, somebody's at my gate. I'm going to go try this one.
Yeah.
And,
how was bear hunting?
It was good.
Where'd you guys go?
We went out, started out west, and then we moved to the North Fork. And actually, the weather was super.
West like Marion?
Yep, out past Marion.
Okay.
Yep. And, late in May, usually it's sunny and warm, and those flowers are popping.
It was not.
May. Dude, it was snowing on us. So the bears were like, hold up. It was kind of like our elk hunt. It was like 3-4 days of just not seeing a single bear.
Yeah.
And then the weather broke, and these yellow flowers, they pop out and they emit a smell. It's like bear crack. They come out of the woodwork. So you glass openings like avalanche chutes, and man, we started seeing bears. So
blacks?
Yep, black bear. I didn't see a grizz, but I did see some big grizz tracks in some of my spots.
I don't know if I've seen a grizz one time at a distance with Dudley in Canada, and I don't think I ever want to see one up close.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of grizz, and that's just part of the business. Like if you're out there in the mountains, you're probably gonna. They're just. There's more and more grizzly bears in our area.
What? How was the hunt though? Was it successful?
Yep, it was successful. One of my buddies shot a pretty decent black bear at 700 yards across canyon. So he had a 30 nozzler, just this cannon that he lugged around.
Yeah.
And
Suppressor?
No suppressor, dude.
Rude. Incredibly rude.
And he's like, "Hey, get on the spot." And I'm like, "I'm not just gonna stand here with my binos. I'm gonna put my tripod." And he's like, "Dude, come on, we got to get on this." And I'm like, "I need to plug my ears."
So one thing I've done many times is you just take out 2 cartridges and you plug them in your ears.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It looks dumber than shit, but it works as pretty good earproof.
Yeah, totally. I've actually heard of that. But I set up my tripod and then just plugged my ears. And I'm like, "Hey, you're good to go." And he was still out. The bear was. He dumped him one shot, tipped him over.
That is a artillery piece though.
Yeah.
That he was hunting with.
Oh, totally.
Did you happen to pick up the rifle?
Yes.
Heavy or light?
Oh, so heavy. It you know, the guns that we're hunting with are like 5 to 7 pounds with optics and suppressors.
Yeah.
And this guy probably had a 15-pound rifle.
I mean,
with a huge muzzle brake on the end.
God, I've almost been lost all hearing from the muzzle
brake. Yeah, same. Yep. Yeah, I used to carry, so I had a Tika with a muzzle brake, and it was a 300 short mag. I call it the Elk Slayer because I killed so many elk with that thing before I started getting Christensen's. And
does that mean like 2?
Yeah, that was like I saw elk and never shot at them.
That's the Nelson that I know.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I always have elk meat, buddy.
Do you though?
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, remember that time we went hunting with Nelson?
You mean last fall?
Yeah. Did you see him slaying anything?
I personally didn't see it. I heard
either.
that there was an elk slain.
Yeah, my wife stepped up to the plate and took that one down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how, from what I've been told. That's
so
how
I
it
told
works
you
in the Grant
I
family.
have elk in the freezer.
Yeah, your wife's elk.
Yeah. Last year, man, it was not a horrible. It was.
Were you telling me that they didn't see the elk pass through the area we were in until months later?
Yes.
Or a month,
Yeah.
maybe months might be a little exaggeration.
Yeah, but it was so dry. There was no weather to push the.
So they were, when we were there, they were still in the winter range?
No, they were in the summer range.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
because we're going the other direction. So they were probably still low then.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's what I was talking to my buddy Adam about that lives down there. He's a biologist. I'm like, so what are they doing right now? Like, because we were putting on so many miles not seeing anything. Whereas
Not
the year
only
before,
were we not seeing anything,
Yep. oftentimes
you can see how an area is going by looking at the back of the cars.
Yes.
I saw a lot of tarps folded.
Yeah. Nobody had anything.
Yeah, gas tank on top. There was nothing.
Yeah, except for some horse hunters that went like 15 miles back and they found a pocket of elk.
For a second there, I thought you meant people that were hunting horses. I was like, holy shit, who does that?
Yeah, there's guys. You got to put orange on your horse.
In Switzerland, many years ago, we were in a grocery store, and I was in the steak section, and there was horse.
Huh.
I did not try.
Yeah. I've heard of guys eating it, but I have not.
I mean, I would eat it before I starved to death.
Right.
I would eat Michael before I starved to death.
So the year before, we couldn't go anywhere without seeing elk. It was just a huge snowstorm. Just the week that I pick, that typical week that I go down there.
Yeah.
Archery, we were getting into elk a ton. But in rifle, couldn't find one. The year before, Rose and I doubled up on bulls. It was amazing.
Did you draw for any tags this year?
Not yet. No, I haven't drawn any special tags.
Okay, same.
But the antelope and cow are still out.
Antelope and cow.
To be drawn.
Okay.
Yep. But I did the salmon Idaho hunt as well. I had a salmon tag.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and my buddy Nuno, he works on Two Bear with me.
We're not supposed to talk about that organization.
Yeah, the unidentified organization known as Two Bear. We can speak to it. I just don't want to get too into the weeds on the rescues.
No, the way you spoke about, we're not even supposed to discuss this hypothetical organization that serves the valley and 300 nautical miles in every direction.
Yeah. So,
will they go into Canada? What if a Canadian really figure that shit out on your own? Huh?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know because Milo's up there in Fernie, and they have the same type of op tempo for search and rescues up there.
Okay.
And I was asking him what they had. They have just regular helicopters, no hoist.
I wonder why you guys don't cross the border. It's only 60 miles away.
Yeah. And that, again, is out of my knowledge of flying. But Nuno and I, so Nuno, he's hunted elk down there this was his 7th year, 6 years in a row, shot monster bulls. He's like, dude, you can shoot one the first day. It's really fun.
We're talking salmon.
Salmon, Idaho area. That's where we had the tag for. Probably people down there will be pissed. But.
Why?
Oh, giving away a location.
I think you're talking about a region.
Oh, it's huge. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so he's killed multiple bulls. He's like, dude, you don't have to be picky. You can be picky. You're going to kill a bull if you want first day or two. We'll go down 4 days early, scout it out. It was 80 or 90 degrees. And the whole time he was doing the thing I was doing to you, like, dude, I'm so sorry. Normally this is packed with elk. And we sat on glass for, I think I had like an 8-day stretch where I could hunt down there with him, and not including the 4 day or the 2 days beforehand of scouting, two or four. I can't remember how early I got.
Was that preseason?
Yep, preseason. Okay. So it was after my antelope hunt. I went straight there because it was like a mid-October hunt down there, and so you can technically hunt them while they're still bugling. We didn't hear any elk bugle. It was 80 or 90 degrees, and one day,
how demoralizing is that?
Oh, it was awful. Yeah, man. And we
like, why do I do this? I fucking hate hunting.
And Aaron's the same type of cat I am as far as put on lots of miles, get after it. We brought bivvies. We camped out there. And we're sitting there glassing one day, and before the season, he's like, hey, dude, just so you know, there's a bunch of rattlesnakes down there. Like, just be aware. And we don't have rattlesnakes up here. So I'm not super spun up on the protocol with rattlers. We're down there, and it's like mid-morning. It's starting to warm up. We made some instant coffee, glassing. And after like 2 hours sitting in the spot next to this rock, leaning back, I start hearing this. And I'm like, Aaron, is that a rattlesnake? He's like, yeah, it's a freaking rattlesnake. Get out of here. We stand up, turn around, and under this rock, this thing was just coming out. And it was huge, man. I took a photo, and I don't know what big snakes are, but this thing, it was probably 3-4 inches around, and I don't know how long it was. It was coiled up, but we then saw so many rattlesnakes on that trip.
I'm not a fan of that.
No, but it was that weather, that temperature.
Yeah,
you know,
it was rough.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know what they do. Hibernate.
Michael, did you put for your tags?
My what tags?
Your hunting tags. Did you put in for them?
No, not yet.
It's too late.
March was when you had to do it.
What is today? You might still, today you can still put in for antelope and I think a cow elk tag.
Okay. Did you put in for antelope?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him and Leah where to go.
I just assumed you didn't.
Why would I not?
I don't know. I just didn't think you did.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, you still got over the counter, and guess what? We can guarantee you an elk. Just kidding.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you have any interest in hunting again?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We should go down. We should figure something out.
Yeah, we will. That was even though it was what it was still fun hanging out.
I'm going to go find him this year in a flying vehicle.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
I think the rule is 24 hours.
Yep. Yeah, so this fall at Two Bear Training, we're going to do in September.
Easy.
Get a Forest Service cabin and we're all staying there. And so Nuno and I are like, oh, it's it's archery season. Let's go after elk during the day because it's all night missions.
Yeah, it's typically still the same rule though, isn't it?
Yeah. 24. So then we were like, oh wait, we're not going to be able to hunt at all legally because we'll be up in the sky. But yeah,
I wonder if there is an exception for that.
I don't think so.
What if you take a commercial flight in the day before?
I don't think that counts. I haven't read the letter of the law, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you fly in a commercial plane, obviously you're not. I mean, I guess you could see an animal. If you're doing nighttime helicopter rescue training with a purpose, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about this too. We tabled it, but
I could see it. Actually, I could actually see it going both ways.
Yeah,
I could see the game warden that you potentially encounter saying, "Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are out here training," and another one putting you in handcuffs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I know the warden that's over that way, and I don't know. We're not going to dive into that. All the extra gear you got to bring for just a few hours of hunting in the day.
But it'd be a dope way to get an animal out, though.
Oh, that would. I think that's also illegal.
Come on.
Yeah, I think so. A couple years ago, I looked into it. I hit up our
You
old
can't
pilot.
sling load an elk out?
I don't think so, and I can't remember why. I can't remember what the law is. I just basically was texting with our old pilot, and I'm like, hey, what's the scoop? Because I was in a nasty hole up the South Fork rifle season, and I saw a nice bull, but I'm like, how am I going to get this thing out? I'll have to eat it in this hole. Like, just...
Those are decisions you have to make before you pull the trigger.
Oh, absolutely. I ended up not shooting that bull.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go back, and because I've studied the map now, I'm like, okay, if I get it up to this saddle,
what ifs, yeah.
I can get it over to this canyon, and then there's a trail. So,
Michael, you do want to hunt this year?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you doing some research on whether or not you can use a helicopter to get an elk out? What have you found?
For most, this is for flying with elk meat. Hold on. I haven't found
There's
anything
rules
yet.
against flying with elk meat?
no, I don't know. I think, like Alaska, all those dudes are bringing their meat out on bush plains.
Do you
But
have a
they're-
choice?
No.
Yeah.
But to helicopter a load out, I think, especially in Montana, that falls under, like...
You're not hunting anymore?
No, and I can't remember what... I think it was like... Obviously, it wasn't a commercial thing because I wasn't paying him.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Research needs to be done.
Yeah, well, it's like been 8 years, I think, since
Yeah.
that conversation was
You
made.
do want to hunt, though, Michael?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, we should figure out a plan. What kind of tags do you have this year?
So far, I just have my general elk tag.
Okay.
But I
And
might
deer.
draw a cow tag,
Okay.
and I put in for that same district because it's like
I put
a huge...
in for whatever you told me to put
Yep.
in. So.
Yep. So if you get drawn, and also I told you to put the bonus point, and I did last year.
Yep.
Did you draw a cow tag last year?
I have never drawn a cow tag.
So you
I have
should-
never drawn a special tag of any kind.
Yeah. Well, because I tell you to put in for the hard spots.
I don't
So-
even know what the numbers are that I'm clicking on.
Yeah. But when you do draw, you're going to be stoked.
If I remember to put in. Thankfully, I have you and Paul. Paul
Yeah.
texts me every day for the week leading up to it.
Yeah. Paul just texted me. He's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm jumping on with Andy. What are you doing? He's like, I see a bear from the railroad tracks. You should come out here and shoot it. I'm like, where are you? And he told me, I'm like, that's like an hour drive. He's like, Andy will understand.
I would, actually.
Yeah. But
It's not like it's going to be there when you get there, though.
Exactly. That's what I told him. He's like, oh, yeah, it'll still be here. It's just feeding in the field. But
Paul the Bear Whisperer.
yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you just have your generals. Yeah, I have a Wyoming elk, a Utah elk, a Montana elk, and a Maine moose.
I was telling my folks about that. You met my
I bet-
parents.
Yep.
I've got a funny story breaking away from that. So my folks are, grew up in church. They're still on that path.
Oh, did I drop the F-bomb?
Oh, my mom listens to these though, and it's so funny. And dude, this is hilarious. She was at a Walgreens in Maine, and she was trying to watch my new YouTube channel thing that I just put up. And
You're going down the YouTube channel route?
well, I was like,
What's the channel called?
Wild Mountain Adventure, and it's WLD MTN Adventure. But
What?
I just needed a name.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it has to suck.
Yeah, I don't know.
How did you
I can
abbreviate it?
Well, there was no other options for Wild Mountain Adventures.
You couldn't just spell it out?
No, it was taken.
Did you do wild_mountain_?
No, I didn't do that.
God,
I can redo this, but either way. So my mom was trying to find the YouTube channel, and she goes into the Walgreens, gets whatever she needs, and there's a line behind her, and she's paying at the cash register, and this dude is like had his AirPods in or had his phone out, and there was just a bunch of F-bombs, and my mom was like, I should really say something. This guy, like, there's a whole crew of people, and she turned around. These ladies were like looking at her super awkwardly. And just like F-bomb, according to my mom, there's probably one.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's like, I didn't say anything, but I got back out to my car, and I get in my car, and I keep hearing the F-bombs. And she's like, I didn't realize my phone was playing, and it was in my own pocket. It was the podcast. It
One
was,
of your and ours?
yeah. Or maybe just one of yours. Maybe it like cycled to the next one.
Swear that much.
No, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. But
Here's the question. You're a religious guy. Michael, feel free to chime in on this. You ever seen somebody like absolutely stub their toe and they're like, Jesus Christ. What do you think Jesus would say if he stubbed his toe? I don't know why I think about these things, but what would he say?
I don't know. I don't think he would stub his toe.
Do you think he'd rip out like, motherfucker?
Yeah, I don't know.
What would he say?
I don't know. The funniest thing is seeing somebody that doesn't swear, and they're like, "Gosh darn it!"
You know they want to.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
You know
totally.
it's like
Yeah.
the Exorcist it's like no alien. It's like trying to get out of their chest.
Yeah.
Because gosh darn it, doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't
No,
relieve
no.
the pressure that is building inside of you like a good just motherfucker.
And when I do that under my truck or something, I slip with a wrench. My daughter's always like, Dad, what'd you say? You know? But no, that was funny. She was in the store. So anyway, that Maine moose, I was telling my dad, you got the, it was reservation moose or something, or Penobscot tribe, or
I don't know a lot about it. A brand I work with out on the East Coast is hooking it up.
cool. That should be fun. And he was like, whoa, it's a tribal tag. Those things, there's big bulls in there.
What is the terrain like, though? Is
It's
it
not-
very narrow and short shooting lanes? Is it,
Yes.
Can you see for
yes.
a long
Well,
distance?
it depends on where you're at, but out here, when I moved out and guys were hearing us shooting 300 yards, they were blown away. And we shoot out,
300 yards would be a pop shot.
Yeah.
In comparison to most of the shots we take.
So most of the areas I hunted in Maine, it was like super thick, second generation forests.
Yeah.
Even just tracking a deer through the timber, you'll go through like heavy growth areas and then into hardwoods. So it'll open up, but still opening up, you're talking 80 yards.
That's if you have a clear shooting lane.
Right.
All right.
So there's fields and stuff. I don't know the area you're hunting at, but
I don't either.
yeah, I would say bring a scoped rifle, but don't plan on shooting over 200. What are you going to bring? Or are you going to
You know the
archery?
answer to that. 300 Win Mag.
Are you doing any archery stuff anymore?
I love archery.
Yeah.
But when my time is limited,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love hunting. What I really like is eating the animals.
Yeah, totally.
I think this week we'll be on like 3 or 4 meals coming out of the freezer, which is it's looking like September's right around the corner just based on the volume that's left in the freezer. So if my choice is empty freezer or rifle,
Yep.
I'm picking a rifle
Yep, totally.
every time.
So, and I love both. I love archery because archery, I typically hunt elk with archery because it's
Yeah.
in the rut.
You-
Instead of deer,
Like I have said to you many times, you could probably write a doctoral thesis on taking time off. I
Yes.
still am not aware
Yeah.
how you are able to take that much time off. I think you must be planning
It's
it.
that time and a half I was telling you about, buddy.
Well, it's that, and I swear you're probably doing shift swaps in every other month leading up to hunting season so you can be gone. I can't do that with my job.
Right.
Like if I were to get 7 days to dedicate to any one thing, that's an inordinate amount of time for me.
Right. Right.
If there's travel on each side of that, and
Yep.
then you're down to 5.
Yeah.
You're unfamiliar with the area, so you might waste one on each side. Then you're
For
down
sure.
to 3.
Yeah.
It's like, where's Mr. Old 300 Win Bag?
Yeah.
Because he likes to eat, and he gets it done. And
It's-
they just put shit on the ground.
It's so fun to do both. It's so fun to get in tight on those elk that are rutting and bugling and set a perfect arrow behind the shoulder. And then it's also fun to look at a bull bedded down at 400 yards through your scope and your dope's perfect. They have no idea you're there.
So you
And-
watch them for like an hour.
Oh, both are amazing.
Yeah.
Both are. But the rut, hunting with a bow is probably the funnest thing that I do of all of my crazy hobbies.
If you have the time, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the first 6 elk I killed were with a bow.
That's pretty awesome.
No,
Yeah.
I love the experience. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I mean, one of the trips I was on with Dudley up there, we stumbled. It was accidental. I don't even want to even pretend as if I know what I'm doing hunting. The guide I was with, we stumbled into a bedding area full of elk, and I have never heard more bugling. They're fucking running all
Yeah.
over the place. When I first started hunting, I was thinking it had to be like whisper quiet. These things were just like knocking
Totally.
down trees,
Yeah.
like
The wind.
farting and pissing everywhere, just bugling back and forth, rolling around. I'm just kind of walking around and this like, holy shit, is this happening?
Yeah. Yeah, what I've always found is you don't have to be super quiet, but you can't let the wind hit your neck.
The wind will, mess you up every single time.
Yep. And if you are loud, like especially if you're kind of bugling your way into a herd,
Yeah.
you definitely have to be aware of what steps you're making, but you can also start rolling boulders and sound like another herd of
It
elk.
almost makes them curious a little bit.
Yeah.
The opposite of what I thought before I started. I thought, I just stepped on a twig. We have to turn around.
Yep.
Dudley's like, no, we're good. They're actually probably going to come check it out.
Imagine a bull bugling and hearing another bull coming at them, but they're like bugling, making sounds, but no other sounds. They're like, okay, something is wrong. It's like when you're bugling and you hear a bull coming in quiet. up here, I'm like, that could either be a bull that's silently coming in or a grizzly bear coming to eat a bull. So you've got your pistol out or next
both.
to you. Yeah, totally. Yeah, silent bull coming in, I'm always aware this could be a grizz.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bull from Wyoming last year, I watched for a good, I want to say it was an hour, but I don't think it was that long. I'd say 30 minutes.
That's cool.
But right before I was getting to shoot, he laid down and was facing me.
Yeah, I remember hearing the story. Yeah.
Yeah. Just 5 and change. And I, of course, had the thought in my mind of, well, if it gets dark enough, I'm going to shoot him in the head.
And didn't you, because you were with CJ.
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't you see another bull? And he's like, nah, this isn't the one we're after.
We almost shot another bull.
Yep.
We got out. Leah immediately found one of the sides of a rack of a 6x. Shortly thereafter, I found it. I walked up, raised up my binos, and saw the elk that I ended up shooting directly in front of me, hundreds of yards away, and he's working his way around a corner with a small herd. CJ was like, hey, it's one of two places. One's a little bit closer, one's a little bit farther. Let's go to the far one and see if they come around. We got there, and we saw an elk pretty quick, and it looked pretty big. And we made kind of a move to close maybe another 150 yards and decided that wasn't the one we were looking at. Went back up the hill, turned around, saw the one that we were looking for, went back down the hill, laid down, got everything set up, and then he laid down. So I was laying down watching him laying down. He didn't know that I was there.
Right.
But, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Just to see him living there, living out the rest of his natural life, if you will.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The last breaths.
I had lazed, I think, every blade of grass within 50 yards of him by the time he stood up, so it was pretty much game over.
Yeah.
at that
And
point.
you were, what was the range?
I think it was like 515.
So you're all doped, ready to go. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I had a game plan if he stood up and went farther away, a game plan if he stood up and came closer, left or right, and slowly the herd, the cows were just feeding past. And you could kind of tell when they were all near him, he didn't give a shit. As they started getting a little bit away, he was turning his head a little bit more. The next thing you know, his butt comes up first, turn broadside, and just...
That's awesome.
See you later, buddy.
Dude, elk hunting is my very favorite hunting that we all do.
He should be in the coffee shop by the end of this year.
Okay, good. Is down in Wyoming?
Yes.
You use a taxidermist down there? That bull that the bulls that Rose and I doubled up on 2 seasons ago, that was such a highlight memory in my whole bank of hunting. It was one of those... Actually, this is a funny story. The day before, I was with Ramsey, the helicopter pilot buddy of mine. We've motoed together. The New Zealand guy. Mm-hmm. So we get there in the evening. Rose glasses a bull up on this ridge. We try to get on him the next morning. Ramsey goes after him. No opportunity. We see across this creek. We see across this creek these 2 bulls bedded in the sunlight. And we're like, let's go after them. It's afternoon. I saw them from one ridge. So you had to go down kind of by where we parked, cross this creek, and then get up to them.
This is already a Nelson story.
Oh, it's good, dude.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I see this one right next to our truck, but several mountain peaks away.
Yes.
Across quicksand.
And it's a smaller bull,
Yeah.
but you worked harder for it. So
we
you
have-
need to go after it.
We have quicksand,
Yes.
cactus, a drawbridge, and a dragon. Yeah, let's just go after that one.
Dude, it was I was on a mission to kill this bull.
Really?
And
Shocker.
so we get down to the creek, and it's frozen it's so cold. It's below zero. It's frozen probably 4 or 5 feet out, and then there's a gap of 5 feet, and then frozen on the other bank. So it's it's not a creek. It's a minor, a small little river. And I'm like, okay, we got to cross this thing. Because I'm looking at Onyx. There's no bridges over it. There's no, we're in the...
And Rose is with you.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, this is not going to happen. We are not going to get across. So I end up finding... I tried to cut a tree down that just wasn't big enough. And so that didn't work. And then we found some, old pallets that were hanging at this campsite. So I start stacking them out. I ended up to, my chest in the water, sub-zero temperature, just pissed as could be. Because I see these bulls. Now we're not in their view. But Rose is like, okay, well, I guess we're done for the day because you're soaking wet and it's...
How did you end up chest deep in water?
Well, because I laid out these pallets, and I thought when I got to the other side, I could cut this other tree down and get Rose across.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I was on a mission, dude. And so I jumped from the end of the pallet over the opening of the creek onto the ice, but the ice wasn't thick enough to hold me up. So I went through.
Did you have an inReach with you on this?
Well, yeah, but we're like 30 yards away from my truck because we climbed back down the mountain, went by the truck, and then we're parked right next to the creek. So Rose was like, okay, we're done. I'm like, well, actually, I have an extra set of boots in my truck. So we should It didn't happen. We ended up cooking up some ramen. I had to get warm. And so the next day I was like, all right, we're going after those bulls. It's miles from anyone except for this creek crossing. So I hit up my buddy in Dillon, Adam. I'm like, hey, dude, do you have any waders at your house? We're going to, on my inReach. He's like, yeah, I've got a couple pairs. I'm like, Rose and I are going to come get those waders and we're going to cross this creek, which is a good move. Smart move. A lot of guys hunt with waders. Yeah, absolutely. You just throw them on.
How far were you from town?
Oh, at that point, we were hours.
Where'd you spend the night?
I can't remember. We got an Airbnb that trip. That was 2 years ago.
Why didn't you just go to Home Depot and get an extendable ladder?
Yeah, we could have done that too, but waders work even better, I think.
Do they?
Yeah.
They require you to get in the water.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I didn't think, is there a Home Depot in Dillon?
I'm sure there's a ladder store.
Either way. Yeah, there's Murdoch's. But anyway, so the next day it was like, okay, these bulls are unpressured. Nobody's been in there. We know that they're there, and there's two. So I'm looking at the maps. I'm like, okay, we're going to cross like even further back, get over there. Ended up, we didn't go after these bulls.
Why not?
Because on the way there, Rose glasses up some cows moving into this drainage, and I'm like, oh, there's definitely bulls with the cows. So let's go after those. And then we have a game plan B. Nobody's after these other bulls.
I love your declarative statements in the field.
Yeah.
There is 100% chance elk on the other side of this hill.
Glass is half full, buddy. See this one?
Yeah.
Half full.
That glass is actually half full.
Yeah, see? I told you.
But you, in the backcountry, are like, if we go 17 mountain ranges deep, 100% chance there's elk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is.
You'll see like a...
Because before you get 17 miles,
you'll
mile
see
like
a raccoon.
16.3, you'll see a bull, for sure.
You'll see a raccoon be like...
100%.
Be like, that raccoon is obviously going towards an elk, so we have to go there.
So the next day, Rose sees these cows feeding into their like bedding zone. So I'm like, hey, let's just go after those, see what we see. And we always have plan B across the river with the waders. So we take off. It's like a 2-mile hike up this mountain, and we crest this like low mountain, like surrounded by this canyon. As soon as we get up on our left is a old burn. It's shady, midday shade. Like this is like 9 a.m. With my naked eye at 400 yards, I see a bull like bedded, but I don't know what position he's at. So get down real quick, glass him. He's bedded, so he can't see us. He's facing away from us.
You just see his rack.
Yep. It just was like in this opening of timber, a rack.
Which is wild because they are really good at hiding for their size. And sometimes they just plop down in the wide open.
Well, this one was the only one we saw. And I'm like, there's probably other elk there. There's bulls typically, even in the hunting, in the rifle season, they're usually bachelored up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's study the timber. So I set up my tripod, started glassing, picking apart for like 20 minutes. And Rose was down on her bipod. I was like, you're going to shoot. It's bedded. Like vitals are facing us. You can shoot him right in his bed. So she had her dope. It was like 415 with that 6.5 Creedmoor. People say that won't do it. Perfect round for that. Anyway, so she's good to go in case this bull for some reason stands up. We're 400 yards. And I am picking apart the timber, and I cannot see any other elk. And after about 5-10 minutes of glassing, I'm like, all right, I'm going to set my gun up too in case you miss. So I'll support you. And we'll likely...
Support by fire. Now we're talking.
Yes. And we'll likely see more elk after you shoot, and we're suppressed. And so she shoots, that thing tips over, rolls down the hill, and 20 elk stand up. And I had just picked apart this timber, like hardcore. Couldn't see another elk. So this one probably thought, like from a different angle, he was protected. Maybe another one was exposed. But from where we were, I saw it naked eye. And all these other elk stand up, and they just start feeding around because they heard the shot, but they had no idea where it came from, and they felt safe in this timber. And after 20 minutes, I see a big bull step out above it. It was like another 75 yards up the hill. And I had already been ready. I re-ranged. He wasn't pressured at all, and I dumped that one, and it rolled down. She supported me on that shot. I'm like, okay, get your range for this. I'm going to shoot. If I miss, you take the shot. Actually, I didn't say that. She already killed a bull.
Do you guys ever shoot at the same time?
Not on the same target.
If you do, here's the move.
Okay.
You're like, hey, we're going to count down from 3. You crack it off at 2.
We would if there
Or
was...
you brief and be like, hey, it's going to be 3, 2, 1, squeeze.
Yeah.
And then what you want to do is 3, 2,
Yes.
I got him, motherfucker.
It's the same thing with first tracks. Like, if we're split boarding in the backcountry, hey, Andy, I'll go down and get a photo of you. So I'll just take like
I'm going to go down. I need to be able to see just over this edge here a little
and
bit.
as you're skiing down, you're like, where did he go? Oh, his tracks are all the way at the bottom. So, if there was 2 bulls that we could have seen bedded, in that position, if they were bedded, I probably would have been on one and let her take the first shot instead of doing a command shot.
Yeah.
That way, she's good to go. There's no pressure. She can just break her shot whenever she wants. And then as the other one stands up, I'll engage that one.
I've never seen him from bedded go to bolting.
I have one time.
On a suppressed shot.
Okay, yeah.
They stand up,
Yep.
but they're curious.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the suppressed shot is a game changer.
yeah.
I mean, they hear it, but they just have no idea where the report came from.
Yeah.
And so we had 2 bulls down at 9:30 in the morning, which never happens that way, and it was epic, super super fun. And like 5 other bulls filed out of the timber after my shot.
That's wild.
Yep,
It
was
is
good.
crazy how you pick that area apart, you shoot, and all of a sudden they're all right there.
And I could see so many tracks that look like a game preserve over there. So I'm like, there are more elk than what we're seeing, but I just can't find one. So you take this one. And
That's cool.
Yeah, it worked out great.
How much meat do you guys have left?
Well, I shot that bison. So I have, and I've been giving some of that away.
You said that was a really hard hunt.
It was unlike anything I've done.
Yeah.
I've never had a guide,
And
first of all.
To say by that, didn't you basically do jumping jacks and then just stand out in the open and shoot
It was a fenced hunt. And I didn't know what I was getting into. It was basically a buddy of a buddy, my ammo company buddy, Defiant Munitions. He's like, hey, I'm going to pair you up with this guy. If you want to come shoot a bison, he wants to give you a bison. So I cruised down to South Dakota. My buddy Tanner came. It was an epic time. Like, his lodge was sick. But the first day we roll in, it's like, I don't know how tall a fence, like 10-foot, like huge fence. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we cruise through, and I'm asking Pete, I'm like, the Defiant guy, I'm like, so do I need like my good boots? Like what should I expect on this hunt? He's like, yeah, bring all your stuff. So I brought my pack. They loaded it with a tractor.
Yeah.
But we drive through the gate, and I'm like just glassing like natural from the passenger seat as the dude is shutting the gate. And I glass up some bison to my left right away. First morning. And this is a 3-day hunt. And I'm like, oh, hey, there's some bison over there. He's like, huh? And he takes a right. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, there must be better bison over this way. And we get to the spot, and he stops. He's like, okay, let's hike through this canyon and see if we find anything. I'm like maybe those were different bison, but
He was just taking you on a journey.
he took me on a hike. So for like an hour to make it feel like, but it was awesome, dude. It was cool. We like for bison, there's very few free range bison. So
Yes.
for a free hunt, I went down there. We ended up going around. I shot it with a 45-70 lever gun. Super fun experience. Tons of meat.
I was going to ask, how much do you get out of it?
I bet around 500 pounds.
Ooh.
Yep. He's like, hey, I got my butcher. He had like the turnkey operation,
Yeah,
the
of course.
taxidermist butcher. And I'm like, well, we got 2 more days. You mind if I just do it while I'm here? And he's like, oh, nobody's ever done that. So we used all his equipment and hoisted it up. And
Did you get a euro?
yeah. And I just got it. Yep. Just got it back. So I haven't hung it in the house yet, but pretty sweet. I mean, I put in so that's the other thing is in Montana, one of the things that they don't accumulate bonus points is our bison. So you, in theory, could put in for 80 years and never draw a tag.
I didn't even know they had a bison tag.
Yep. And
Free range?
yeah. There's 2 herds
Where?
down by Yellowstone Park. And then there's another one in, I think it's Gardner.
Huh.
I can't remember the exact spot, but yeah, there's 2 spots that you can hunt. And there's a cool YouTube video of this kid that had the tag that him and his dad went. And
How many per year do they put out?
I know in this, well, I don't want to get too specific because the zone that I put in for, you could find it easily in the regs. But in this one zone, it's a few. In the other zone, I think it's like 30 or 40.
So under 50 per year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they're all,
Get it out, sick boy.
yeah, no kidding. they're all coming out of the park. So it's weather dependent, just like the elk that we were hunting. So if you have a buddy down in West Yellowstone, or you're like, hey, dude, are the bison out yet? And then you got like 24 hours to get down there and fill your tag. But going back to this fenced hunt, I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I also knew that, hey, I may never, ever shoot a bison. So, yeah, let's do this. And not necessarily something I was used to, but it was still fun. Basically, picking out your animal and shooting it.
You know, a lot of people would talk shit on that, and maybe it's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. Some people hunt by just going to the grocery store, man.
Yeah,
like to
totally.
them,
totally.
If that's your thing, that's your thing. I have hunted a bunch in Texas where it's high fence, and the odds are ridiculously in your favor, and most of the animals you shoot are eating corn at the time that you do.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're honest about what the experience is and you don't try to make it something that it's not,
right?
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And everybody has a different level, just like you were saying with your time. This is a 3-day hunt, and it's 100% guaranteed. You know, so like you get a guy that wants to hunt, doesn't have the time in his budget. He just flies in, shoots this thing. 2 days later, he's home, and everything's taken care of for him, from the meat to the taxidermy if he wants it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I support it.
I dig it.
If
it's your thing. Here's the thing. Some people like clam chowder.
Yeah.
Some people like tomato soup.
Yeah.
Who am I to say which one is
exactly
right for whoever?
I do enjoy, and I said it earlier, rut hunting with my bow for elk is my tip of the spear experience. It is. We're having multiple interactions a day, full draw.
Shooting over their back.
Yeah, I've done that a couple years back. Yeah, actually, I've done that a few times.
Oh, I've missed the shit out of some elk before with the bow and arrow.
Yeah, it's those situations that you don't have time to like range everything around you. You're not stationary. You're chasing a bull. This thing comes together. You're knocking your arrow. You're drawing back. You're like, okay, that is 35 yards.
Sometimes you just suck.
Yeah, and there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to say, oh, I didn't have enough time. And I think a lot of times for a lot of people, the answer is you just suck, to include myself.
Suck. Yes, 100%. Dude, you should come on an archery hunt this year.
I don't have time.
Yeah. You don't have it in September, like 5 days?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That is literally my number one governing factor is time.
Yeah.
Because I do have a bunch of tags already.
Yeah. Do you have an archery hunt planned this year?
No. The Utah tag, I could do either. I will talk with Evan about that and see what he kind of wants to do with that. I kind of want to do it dressed up as a Revolutionary soldier with like a carbon fiber musket. Get like a proof barrel and a carbon fiber, full on like red, like red coat hunt.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, get like some old school musket technology, but literally get proof to make a barrel, throw like a vortex optic on that thing. But you have to wear the red coat outfit.
Or, dude, you should do the old mountain man. You know, like buckskins and
it's hot
your powder bag.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's possible.
Coonskin hat.
It's possible. But again, like at the end of the day, say you're running towards the end of one of those trips and you're not having success. At the end of the day, I want to make tacos out of these things.
For sure. And that's the hunt. I mean, it's hunting, and there's times when you don't harvest anything.
Well, this year, if I do harvest them all, my whole goal is to feed as many people as possible, too.
Yeah.
Like
you're so good about that.
I try to. Yeah. It's like, I mean, once the freezer's full, I don't even know how big a moose is, to be honest with you. So I also don't know how.
It's big.
Yeah, I also don't know the mechanics of getting it back from Maine.
I don't either. Well, this dude with a bison, he ships it out. He has a shipper, so I'm sure there's opportunity for that.
Shipping is often calculated by weight.
I think he said it's about $350 to send a bison.
I'm going to guess a moose's relative amount of meat.
Yeah.
That's a guess, though.
Yep. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's the best answer I can give you.
Yeah. You know, we had this debate. Remember giving me that axis deer a couple years back?
Yeah, from Lanai.
Yep. We had this debate on this bear hunt, like best meat. We were just sitting around the fire talking, and I was like, dude, I've always said that elk is the number one, the best meat. Like the steaks, burger, everything tastes great. I think over moose, over bear, over bison, because now I've had a bunch of that.
Mm-hmm. Does it just taste like cow?
Yeah, but it's a little gamier, but it's great. It's delicious meat. But the steaks aren't quite as good as a cow steak. The the ground is great, burgers and tacos. But that axis deer you gave me, I'm like, change my mind, because you're like, oh, this is the best meat ever. And don't overcook it.
No.
And that...
medium rare at best.
I was like, yep, axis deer is the number one best meat I have ever had in my life.
That was a cool trip.
Yeah.
The speed limit on that island is 35 due to the size of the herds of deer.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll just nuke windshields and cars.
Yeah. Was that an archery hunt?
Yes.
Yeah. That's super hard, isn't it?
I'm glad I took extra arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of blown stalks, but a lot of good stalking opportunity and practice. But yeah, it was challenging.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah. Are you going to go back there, or would you?
I would go back if a brand invited me to go back, like they did.
Yeah.
My buddy John Barklow at Sitka hooked that up. I mean, you stay at the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Economically, not in my wheelhouse. And I would rather, if I did have that much money set aside, I would rather do something else with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My buddy Matt Miola, he's a pro surfer, lives on one of those islands and has invited me and a few other buddies down to.
You don't have to go to Lanai. There's access all over quite a few of the Hawaiian islands, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, it's on the list. I want to go do that.
Yeah. It's challenging for sure. But they're everywhere. Like, you blow a stalk in one direction, you turn around, and you're like, oh, we're back on the stalk.
Yeah. That's the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's cool. Target rich environment.
What else is new in the Valley? How's everything in law enforcement? Let's get you in trouble with the sheriff.
Let's do it.
What's the tea with the sheriff?
There's not much. It's just business as usual.
Just
it's busy.
Crime. Cape Crusaders out there in the UPS outfit.
Yeah. I've been on nights this month, and I've got one more week of nights. And
what kind of stuff do you see in the nights?
Well, like this morning, we had a dude show up to his ex's house. She didn't have a restraining order, but it was like 3 a.m. Yeah. Showed up.
Does a lot of good stuff happen at around 3 a.m.?
Well, it's not good. If it's happening at 3, it's usually not good.
Okay.
But he ended up being drunk, passed out in his car with a pistol. So we started, after we got a drone around to make sure he hadn't shot himself or anything like that, or if he's sitting there like hunched over in a barricade spot.
Did the drone wake him up?
No, we just had eyes on with the drone, and then we have a pepper ball gun with inerts. Hit the back window. That woke him up, and then he complied, but we were there for a while before he gave up. But yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the summer rush, as you will, has it commenced?
It's seeming busy. I went to Whitefish to meet a buddy the other day, and it was like packed downtown. Like summer packed.
Oh, I mean the repeat customers you guys are constantly dealing with.
Yeah, it goes in flows. Like a month ago, it was so busy we were going call to call, and this week it wasn't super crazy.
Why busy a month ago?
I don't know. Maybe it's that spring break. Like all of a sudden it's not cold and people are getting outside and drinking around the fire type thing. I'm not really sure what causes that.
The nude guys come out? Because I usually get 1 or 2 good body cams of naked guys from you guys.
Yeah, there's been a bunch recently, actually. Old Strider, Nighthawk. He had a good one like 2 weeks ago. You need to ask him. He's got the camera.
Did it terminate in a taser?
No.
Did he attempt to run from Nighthawk while nude?
Oh, yeah.
Man. Is meth...
It was a female. Yeah.
Some people are probably like, oh, that's awesome.
No, it's
Get to see some titties, but those aren't the titties you want to see.
No. No, it's not.
Why do people on meth take their clothes off?
That's a good question. I don't know. Body heat, maybe. Probably lack of awareness of any system that they have going on.
So apparently, I hear Michael typing away. Why do people who use meth take their clothes off? At the coffee shop, one of the young women who opens up was having a little bit of car time before her shift. And the words that she used was, a crazy man teleported himself into the front of my car.
What?
So there was this dude who was described as moving erratically and nonstop, which makes me think perhaps he was, a little methed up. And so she did not exit the vehicle and kind of drove around the block as he was, I guess, pacing back and forth in the parking lot. And then another one of the female employees also started driving around the block because they were just trying to figure out where this guy's coming from. He decides to run to the police station and report that he's being followed. So,
man,
and I don't know how
yeah.
that terminated for him.
You know, the city of Kalispell has so many more like homeless problems and things like that because
Not far from where we are right now,
Right,
actually.
the
It's one of
hub.
the main epicenters.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's my opinion is when you give free substance, like free anything from food stamps to any kind of government handout, it's going to create more attraction to it.
What about the people who are legitimately using those things to sustain?
Yeah. Hard to say. I'm not sure.
You're a cold-hearted bastard.
The thing is, I don't have the answer, but I see where some of the problems lie.
What would you change as somebody who is dealing with these individuals?
Man, we have round top this. I don't know what the answer is. I have zero solutions for this problem because our homeless population is growing. Our mental health problem is obviously growing as well. That's 90% of what I do at work. You know.
Do you know where this problem is likely going to be solved? Flathead 411.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you on that?
Yes.
Okay.
I never comment,
I
but
do
it's
sometimes.
entertaining.
I was on there arguing with somebody not too long ago. All right.
Oh, were you?
For anybody that has Facebook, I don't give a shit if you live in Kalispell or not. One of the best, most entertaining pages is called Flathead 411. And you need to get on there and you need to request to become a member. And I think they ask you some questions, but just lie.
Yeah.
All right,
say
just
that
lie.
you live here.
Say that you live here because the shit that they talk about and the way that they talk about it is amazing. Yeah. And I want everybody to be able to experience it.
The best part, like anytime there's a siren, hey, does anybody know what the sirens are going on?
There's a bunch of cop cars over by the Costco.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on? How about go live your life?
Yeah. The worst is when we get pictures of our own cars on there. Like this cop cut me off. And all your buddies start texting you, hey, dude, you're on, like all your cop buddies that know your car.
Yeah.
Hey, you made it. You made it big.
Michael, are you part of Flathead 411?
No, but I'm looking at it right now.
I just got Jose spun up on it at spring camp.
I think there's like a new Flathead 411 too, because they
won't let you in right away.
Right.
I was there when Jose got the alert that he was in. He was part of the elite.
That's
He made
so
it through
funny. It's funny because there's some like squeaky wheels that go on there and post all the time, and then they get like shadow banned almost, or they get like not allowed to post.
Yeah,
and so they
get kicked
started
off.
this other page for the real stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on there, Michael?
I'm sure
yeah,
every
I'm looking at it
community
right now.
has.
Isn't it amazing?
One
It's
of
really
these.
good.
Regardless of the topic, within 2 comments, it's like, fucking Californians.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it is funny, man.
Oh, yeah, they talk about traffic, and in my head, I just laugh. Like, you've never experienced an 8-hour drive to Los Angeles from San Diego.
Totally.
One way.
Yeah, and I haven't either, and I'm glad.
God.
And I think that's probably part of the spark, because they're like, I don't want to experience this traffic.
You're
but
not going to.
No.
I think there are 20-some million people between San Diego and LA County. Like, that's 20x the state.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out east in Montana, like the upper northeast portion?
No, I haven't.
What's up there?
I don't know. The High Line? Yeah,
It
I've
seems
never
like-
I've never hunted up there. The furthest like northeast I've been is over by like Shelby and
What's out there?
well, it's awesome for hunting. Like there's good muley, whitetail, and antelope hunting. And there's some elk, but I think it's permitted.
Is it just flat and agricultural?
It's kind of like going into the breaky area, like when we hunted over there for deer.
No, I mean past that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's
We
probably
should
like
go there one time just to
flat
see
and
what's in
windy.
our own
Yeah.
state.
Yeah, I've been southern part of the east state, like Broadus, the southeast corner. Hunted over
we need
there.
to go to Billings and head north.
Yeah.
To the
I don't know if I
forgotten
want
lands.
to, like on our bikes, we get blown apart.
Maybe a car.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably windy.
I just realized we live in such an awesome state, but I've experienced, even in the state we live in, a small
Yeah.
fraction.
Yep.
All the postcards are more from where we live, though, and less from out there.
Yeah, most people are either Yellowstone, Glacier, Bozeman area.
I did have a rancher reach out and said I could come shoot all the groundhogs that I wanted. And I was thinking of taking Leah out there to get her dialed in because she just got a new rifle.
That's awesome.
The guys up at Defiance hooked her up.
Oh, you were telling me about that.
Dude.
What caliber?
6.5 Creedmoor and 6.5 PRC.
Okay.
I sighted it in the other day. Holy shit. I think the ammo that was selected for it was shooting at a 1/4 minute of angle. Dude. I mean, you're talking just keyholing shot after shot after shot. We were out at the lake house and just shooting steel at I have a head plate out there at 100 yards, and you're just like round on top of round on top of round, and it was a Hornady round. Usually I've been shooting Noslers.
Yep.
And the gun, for people who don't know this, guns, not that they, they're not an object that can choose to like something or not, but they perform better with some rounds.
Correct.
And not as well with others.
Yep.
This rifle got put through, I think, 6 or 7 different types of ammunition. And like the Nosler ones were the ones I had the pictures of with over the pyramids, which was cool. But that's not the round that the gun liked. It was a Hornady. I don't know specifically which one, but holy fuck.
Did they give you some guidance on that?
Oh, they had like 5 different rounds, and the groups that it shot bench rested. So I went with that one, threw the scope on it. Within 3 rounds, had it just stacking. I haven't done mine yet. They made for me a 300 and a 300 PRC. So we each have 2 barrels. Showed me how to swap them out. I'm by no means a gunsmith.
Okay.
Yeah. So
are they like proof barrels or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Proof barrel, Macmillan stocks with Defiance action. Dude.
Their actions are top shelf.
And
those barrels are top shelf.
I don't know if there's enough rounds that I could fit in the car to go, groundhog hunting with.
Yeah, I was going to say that's an expensive groundhog round.
The Hornady rounds are way easier to tolerate from the checkbook perspective than the Nosler ones. Holy shit.
Yeah. What's a box of those go?
I haven't bought any yet because it came with, I think, 3.
Yeah.
And I legitimately, after 3 rounds, the thing was just stacking right on target. Leah shot it a few times. I'm like, I'll get you some more bullets. We'll just put this thing back in the safe. Now I got to sight in the 300 because I would like to see what a 300 does to a ground squirrel.
Oh.
Maybe line up a couple.
Yeah. Yeah. We were shooting some gophers, groundhogs 2 weeks ago. It's good
target practice.
Yeah.
It'd be a bunch of time behind the gun for her. She could practice lasing and manipulating the optics and all that stuff.
Yep.
And you shoot and they probably all disappear for like 30 seconds and then like
slowly poke their head up. Headshots only. Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
That's what I got to do with my daughter too, to get her a little more experience just transitioning from target, getting her sight alignment. And
she's young. She'll figure it out.
Yeah. She made that awesome shot on that whitetail last year. It was her first hunt. She's 10. Well, she's 11 now, but
yep.
Yeah, that's so fun, taking your kids out.
I took Riley and Tyler to Mexico. They each shot a coos deer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riley was into it. Tyler was just like, whatever, it's done. Let's go. I need Kool-Aid. Then Riley like laid out in the sun for an hour like freaking Carlos Hathcock. Just wouldn't get off the glass and just smoked this thing.
That's cool. Did you guys get Euros or anything? Or
yeah, they're out at the lake house.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. They're not large.
I can imagine.
Coos
deer are super small, right?
Trophy coos deer is about the size of a golden retriever.
Wow.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little basket rack.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd shot an infant. So
yeah, you got to know what species it is to know whether it's like a mature animal or not. But
hard to find in
Yeah.
the sagebrush of Mexico, but that was a pretty killer trip.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Those guys hunting coos deer use huge optics to try to pick apart the brush.
It was more a matter of knowing where to look.
Gotcha.
And then, like anything, it usually takes me like a day when we start hunting to figure out, until you can sight them a little bit, like, okay, that's the size I need to be looking for and the color I need to be looking for. Then they were popping out a little bit more.
Cool.
Yeah. Wasn't bad.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Quit jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Pretty normal.
I have another bear hunt next week that I'm doing. Arrow Precision sent a couple guns for us to, they're making a new line of hunting rifles. So they want us to get some content for them. So that'll be fun.
Are you going to put that on your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What are you doing with this channel?
Well, so my goal is, all my buddies are like, dude, you do cool things, you should film it. And I have all this GoPro film from years past that I never do anything with. Most people are that way. They have a GoPro, they film something cool, and then what do you do with it?
I'm worried this footage is from like a GoPro 4.
No, I just bought a 12. By the way, the screen broke, and I tried to get it warranted, and they're like, nope, sorry, it's out of warranty. Brand new GoPro 12.
How can it be out of warranty then?
Well, I don't know. It's 4 months old. I got it in January.
Where'd you get it from?
I bought it online through GoPro.
Okay.
And I didn't buy their like program, their extra like no questions asked warranty program, which is like another $100. I just didn't buy it. Like I've had several GoPros, nothing that's ever happened to them. So I had it in the case with my other 360 GoPro, and I think what happened is some pressure. It's a soft case like that one.
Yeah.
Pressure went against it. The next day I pull it out. It was at two bear training, and the back screen was broke. And it wasn't like the glass was cracked. It was under the glass. The LCD was like spidered.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I sent a bunch of photos, and they're like, we're considering this drop damage, and we're not covering it. So I'm trying to figure out with them if they can at least fix my screen, because I can't adjust settings. It still records, but...
Hook it up to your phone app.
Yep.
You can adjust all the settings in that.
Yep. Good call.
I don't think you're ready for a YouTube channel.
Well, I've been doing a lot of editing. So what I noticed...
You just described that you don't know how to use a GoPro
well,
properly. So
I had it in the proper settings for most of my outdoor stuff. So I haven't messed with that. But there's light settings and...
Michael, you're a professional video producer at this point.
Yeah, we're going to get together.
No. I was going to say, what do you think what are your thoughts here on Nelson's readiness to leap into YouTube?
Do it.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought. I also...
He's just being nice.
Yeah. So a lot of my filming, though, has just been like, oh, we're doing the Sweet Pal line, so let's turn on the GoPro. So now I'm trying to capture more of the event. Like if we go out splitboarding, like, hey, we're gearing up, like the whole...
So you're going to vlog?
I guess that's what you call it. They're probably going to be like 10 to 15-minute films.
God, I'm going to so incredibly negatively review your channel.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm going to pay people to write bad reviews. And
I have
subscribe only to unsubscribe.
I have probably 5 videos in the queue to launch. I have
what are you waiting for?
Ski trip with Rose, Layla, and I. We were camped in the camper, stayed at the parking lot of a lost trail down on the border.
Why didn't you launch them?
I just haven't launched it yet. I launched 3 of my like what's to come, and I'm about to launch these other ones. 2 are like fully ready. So I have that, a survival day where Jesse and his kid and Rose, Layla, and I, we went in on snowmobiles. I taught them like avalanche search, beacon searches, how to start a fire in the mountains, build a snow pit. So that'll be good. That's probably a 20-minute one. My bison hunt, this black bear hunt that we just did. I have a snowmobile trip that we did down to Island Park, where it's just nuking, like the only snow we got this winter.
Yeah.
We hit it perfect.
Thankfully, we actually got a lot of rain.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of good and bad for bears, but
yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing with a GoPro or with a YouTube channel. We'll see what happens.
What is the channel name called again?
Wild Mountain Adventures.
But you spell it like
WLD.
Oscar Garbage Can Central or some shit.
I could rename it. I'm just trying to get started. So I'm not too concerned about it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do my best, and it's not like my...
Okay, hold on. You're bringing up terms that I don't like.
Like, I'll do my best?
Yeah.
Well...
Because you know what? Some people's best isn't good enough.
Yeah, mine's pretty good. I say that.
It's not.
It's like saying, yeah, I'm okay at that. But really in my mind, I'm like...
When you tell yourself, I'm going to do my best, it is an excuse.
I say that publicly. It's going to be epic. You should watch it. No, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm not like putting all my stocks into like a YouTube channel.
Are you going to take it more or less seriously than jiu-jitsu?
Probably about on par. Like every 3 months I'll do something with my... I'm just kidding. Oh, no.
Well, so there'll be 3 videos up there for the next 3 years.
I've got some good stuff coming.
All right.
We'll see.
What's like a good content trip? What kind of ideation do you have into the future? What kind of stuff do you want to capture?
So this summer, motos.
Yep.
I'm going to do some sweet moto trips and just document the whole process of it, from packing your bike to going out in the mountains and how you camp, fishing off it, pretty much everything I currently do. So like fishing trips. Oh, I filmed a pretty good fishing trip over east.
First off, you can't use those terms together.
A good fishing trip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your dad might disagree.
He actually is like, so when are you going to get this helicopter thing done? Because I want to go fly fishing.
Good.
Yeah, is it though? I mean, I don't know.
Good access.
I'd have to ask you where to go anyway. So
yeah. Well, it's like anything. Just broke your mic there.
Maybe.
The further out you get, typically you get into better hunting, right? It's the same thing with fishing. Like you go on the Flathead, you're going to catch fish, but if you go kind of in the backcountry, like the South Fork, you're catching fish like 100 fish a day, because they're not cast to that often.
Yeah.
So
it's not my jam.
Yeah, it's something I like to do.
So you're going to be a YouTube mogul?
Yes.
Have you considered starting a podcast?
No.
Good. I would suggest that you not. What else? Michael, I think I can see another consulting service you could offer Nelson.
Yeah.
I would start with like spelling the YouTube channel somewhat similar to what it's called.
I still haven't found it.
Of course not. This is
It's
real
linked,
life.
I think, in my in my IG bio.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
but it's like in the infant stages here, bud.
I get it.
It's a crawl, walk, run. So,
Okay.
but I do have some good
I'm
content.
supportive.
I think
you are one
that-
of the busier people that explores every aspect of what Montana has to offer. You have something going on in every season.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of people have like this is my season. You are doing more shit than people that I know.
Yeah, and I enjoy that, the diversity, and that's what I really love about Montana too, the seasons, because I think I would struggle like a Hawaii lifestyle or a Florida one kind of temperate, I think I would struggle with that. But by the end of summer, I'm stoked to get off the paddle boards and rafts and start hunting, by the end of summer. And then by the end of hunting season, I'm so burned out from chasing elk.
Yeah.
That I'm really stoked for the snow to fall and get out on the sled and the skis.
Here's how we make your channel get some traction.
All right.
Once a week, use some of your body cam footage.
From Two Bear.
Listen, for clarity, for all the people at Two Bear who are going to get pissed, it's Nelson that keeps bringing you guys up. I understand you're a super secretive organization that doesn't want to be spoken about. What's your department's policy on uploading body cam footage?
Yeah, I've not explored that, and it's not going to happen. But I did listen.
Just do DUIs.
Yeah.
DUI pullers.
Well, there wouldn't be very many of those.
How many drinks have you had? I haven't had anything to drink tonight, officer.
Dude.
And of course, sovereigns.
I did listen to that, the podcast you had with the dudes from EFC.
Yes.
Yep. And they were talking about putting body cams up and his own body cams from his time. So I'm not sure how that all works, but
I would ask.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
permission
I am
before forgiveness on that one.
Also, my channel is more about adventure, not cop work.
Listen, I understand that. But if you can get some of the people falling over trying to touch their nose on a DUI check,
It probably creates some traction.
it'll create some traction. People will come there and be like, oh, also, I like trout fishing, so I can get drunk people in trout fishing.
Start with like a guy doing field sobriety tests and then switch
Yes.
right over
Gotta
to the
get 'em
mountains.
there. I mean, right? I think this is a viable option, right, Mike? Like, you got to get the eyes on it first.
Yeah, I
I'm not
like
going to
it.
be gimmicky.
Well, it is also kind of what you do from time to time.
Yeah, it is. It's
You
just
could
not
put
like
up the videos you writing speeding tickets.
yeah. That also wouldn't have a lot of videos.
I know, because you disconnected your radar gun.
It's still connected. I think I'd have to check. It's probably definitely not tuned.
Yeah. You going to go for a ride today?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, let's get the hell out of here so you can go ride.
All
Get
right,
some,
brother.
Even though, is it me or are we having a little bit of an awkward weather
Dude.
pattern?
Well, like I said, last week bear hunting, it's typically hot and sunny,
Yeah.
and you're seeing a lot of bears the end of May. It was raining and snow.
If you've seen this in years past, what does that generally mean for the summer?
I think
Milder
summer's,
summer?
No, I think it's going to be a standard summer.
Okay.
I think our winters, it seems like our winters are coming with the weather later. So like it's warming up, but we're still getting the weather patterns
Global warming.
versus, I don't know about that, but the early like December snows that we used to get seem to be coming later. Like the mountain was bare. Well, it was a pretty rough year all year, but
It was not the best snow
No.
year up there.
this was probably the worst I've seen in 12, 13 years.
I like to tell myself that because of that, next year will be epic.
Yeah. I do the same
have
thing.
no
dude.
data to
Glass
support
is
it.
half full, bro. It's still half full.
That's about a quarter full at
Yeah,
this point.
it's going to be an epic year.
All right. What do you want to close it out with?
I don't know, man. Appreciate all you're doing. Especially the jiu-jitsu law enforcement stuff. It's really good. I think you have a big
That's
following
not me
there.
doing it.
No,
That's
but
a-
you're giving a voice to it.
I don't understand why it's not mandatory for you guys to train grappling in some shape or form.
Yeah, there's a lot to it to unpack, especially
Not
like
really. You guys touch people every day.
No, I agree. I think that, and the dude said it on the podcast, it comes down to a self-responsibility.
Yeah.
It really does. Same with pistol work. Like when I was on the SWAT team, we got to shoot a lot. I'm not on the SWAT team anymore. It's up to me to go out and bang rounds,
Yeah.
you know.
Can you shoot out at your house?
No.
What if you did, though?
I mean, I have before. But it's only 5 acres kind of near other houses, so. But I have a range, the North Fork range, real close.
Fair enough.
Yeah.